sure you ready? All right. Whatever, dude. So.
That's Mike.
That's Toya.
And this is Tech Beats and Bytes.
Welcome back, guys. We are here for, what season is this now? 3?
10. We on season 10.
I think it's like season 2.5 because we're in the same
Yeah,
year.
but it doesn't matter. But we in 10. I'm saying it.
So we had a long break. We took
did.
the summer off.
Somebody got married.
Jesus, blast. You weren't going to ease into that at all, right?
No, I wasn't. No. It was fun. The summer was good.
I'm glad it was. It cost a lot. It cost a lot to feed people to celebrate your love. I think people should
The food was good.
Of course the food was good, but I'm just saying. I should have charged tickets for people to get in. We should have ran
No. That's why people bring gifts.
About the gifts.
We gonna say that for another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say. But yes, I got married to my wife, Alicia Daniel Hall. Yeah. We ain't changing names on Facebook. We trying to make money. We don't do statuses. We do income.
Right. So where it counts.
She's a lawyer. Her name still make money. So God know her name. So we are not really changing the format this year, but we've went through some moments where we realized we kind of need to focus on us.
Yes. Yes.
And so some of these shows will just be me and Toya talking about issues that we know other people don't really get the chance to talk about. Mm-hmm. The guests are still welcome. If you would like to be a part of Tech Beats and Bytes, you can find us on social media. Send us your bio and how do you relate to either technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, the food industry, the music industry, or something in the community. That's kind of what we're looking for. Because there's a lot of things to discuss, and we figured the amount of time we're investing into chasing for new people to be on the show, we could have been talking about topics. So if you want to be on the show, reach out. If not,
right. We still have a chair available for you. It's not
space.
Here right now. It's not here right now, but we
space.
have one. It's space.
It's all available space. And we're still in the lobby at Venture Cafe. Thank you to Venture Cafe and to the Knight Foundation for supporting us. So we had some stuff to get off our chest, so we're going to talk about some topics. And then are you still going to do your little segment, What's Hot in the Streets?
Yes, we can still keep that. I didn't necessarily have anything for that today, but we can. I have something.
I still have today's ignorance, so
yeah.
People do stupid stuff every day. So
right, that's what I'm saying. It's easy. Off top.
So our first topic is crypto dead?
Is it 6 feet deep? 9 feet deep?
I'm assuming there's going to be at least one more push. I think if anybody has it right now, you should probably sit on it until November, December.
Yeah.
I think you'll have that little craze. But I'm going to say every ICO in the last few years will probably fail, and it really doesn't matter because they got their money. But I don't think any investor that invested in an ICO should probably expect a big return. I think it was a good run, but I don't think it's never going to hit the marks that it hit last year.
Right. I think it's definitely just like the stock market, right? You kind of have like really high peaks because there's a rush to it, and then it starts to like settle into its normalcy. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing with crypto. For me, I'm sitting on mine.
Right.
It definitely suffered, as I'm sure a lot of people did with their accounts. But I also am sort of seeing cryptocurrency being used in new and creative ways, which is kind of exciting.
Which ways are those?
So, for example, a team in France, a soccer team in France called Paris Saint-Germain, they're offering their fans coins that they can then use to gain exclusive access to the team. So they can weigh in on the team, how they're going to do their new uniforms or whatever sort of may be happening. That's sort of fandom for the team. So if you have a coin,
to put input.
They get to have input in what's happening with the team. So that's kind of cool because it's like an access point.
I like that.
For you. So I think that what we're sort of starting to see is crypto sort of pivot and become a little bit more tangible in how it's used and not so
But is that more
elusive and highbrow.
blockchain itself then? So that's more so actually the uses of blockchain versus actual cryptocurrency then.
Well, they're using a coin as like the access credential.
Access point. So it's still
Right.
using a blockchain, so it makes it
Of course.
private.
Right.
And it still makes it anonymous at that
Right.
point.
But in order for you to have it, you have to have the coin. So it's the technology of blockchain, but the coin is the consumer exchange with the team.
Okay. So as an ICO, but if that was an initial coin raise, that's still very limited in the amount of money.
Right, because they're going after their fans.
Right. So I just think maybe some people need to realize this is kind of like the end of the VC era. It's not really a lot of risk takers anymore. I think you just got more people that are willing to, they're either investing in things they are already sure of,
Right.
or they're waiting for the trend to happen. I haven't seen anybody like take that big risk. I haven't seen anything new in the last year. It's been kind of dry.
Yeah, yeah. And there's an article that came out actually today about is it a good idea to have your ICO endorsed by a celebrity? Because you were kind of seeing that Floyd had a whole thing last year when he like endorsed a coin.
Floyd
and,
can read. No.
Right. Floyd
Shout out to
Mayweather.
50.
And then Paris Hilton apparently got on a coin too, but Floyd's coin was the only one that was really successful. The other ones failed.
What was his coin? So you got to tell the people. You know.
So
a lot.
his coin was, we could go ahead and talk about it real quick.
And I'm just saying, while Toya is looking it up, I think
Yeah.
the Wild West hasn't really been tamed, and too many people to me are just coming up with a coin just to have a coin, versus maybe more so a utility coin like the team in France, where it actually has a purpose.
Yeah.
Your coin actually has to have a purpose. You
Right.
can't just have a coin just to have a coin.
Exactly.
That's
so
gone.
the one that he, in July 2017, he made an Instagram post promoting stocks.com. And the platform then was able to raise $30 million. And so they kind of were able to capitalize on Floyd Mayweather. And of course, Floyd is flashy as all get out. So it played into that. But there were other sort of celebrity-backed coins. An example, Paris Hilton, she did, what was the name of her coin? Lydian Coin Ltd. That was one that they did. But what the SEC is saying is that if celebrities are being used to just promote a coin, it could actually be illegal for them to be used in that way, because if they're not disclosing their engagement and any sort of compensation that
And
they
what
may be
they're getting
getting,
paid, yeah.
right, then it could become an illegal situation. And then two, it should raise sort of a concern to those who are interested in the ICO, because if the ICO has to get a celebrity to be like, yes, I sign on, then does the ICO really have any merit on its own?
Who would be investing in Paris Hilton at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. But she still has fans, obviously. I'm assuming she got some followers. I don't know how many she has across her social sphere, but, you know, that's Paris.
Yeah, you know, she stays relevant. And she did a little DJing thing. She keeps her name in the news
Right.
somehow.
Right, right. So I don't know. I think crypto as we knew it is maybe dead, but I believe it's sort of trying to still maintain some level of relevancy and then also just some prominence, because it's based on blockchain. And I think that that's where people just need to focus more on.
Yeah, I think if
is
people,
the blockchain, not the actual coin.
coin itself. If people
Yeah.
focus more on blockchain, it would make
Right.
a big impact.
Yeah.
But I also believe some people probably should take the time to realize that things just aren't going to be the same. So if you're out
Right.
there investing, you definitely shouldn't invest more than you can lose.
Absolutely.
I think that's one thing that we've said to people, and that's one thing that's been communicated. But it's just like stocks. I mean, if you can't afford to lose it, don't invest it.
Exactly.
I mean, my stocks have been doing great. I think I'm up like 12%. But I definitely took a hit with.
yeah. I just stopped looking at
Every
it.
time I look at
on my app.
Coinbase, it's
Right.
borderline. I got to go from Coinbase to Stash to kill the depression. It's like, okay, I got killed over here, but I'm all right over here. I'm all
Right, right. But that's the part of investment is hedging your bets, right? So
Right.
you want to make sure that while you may be taking a loss here, you're able to at least hedge it a little bit with whatever else you're investing
Yeah,
in.
you got to be able to balance it
Right.
out. That's cool. So, I mean, for everybody out there, the conclusion is do not expect your crypto to be going to $20,000. That's not going to happen. I'm predicting, which I rarely do on a show, but I'm going to predict you might see it getting back to maybe $8,000 to $10,000
For the holiday season?
for the holidays. If it gets there, cash out. Get
Right.
your money, because expect it to
Right.
drop again in January. So do not wait. If it hits 10, maybe 11, Do not sit on it like, oh, it might hit 12, 13, and 15. It's not going to happen. I think your max is going to be around 8 to 10. And if you get to the 8 to 10 point, you've probably taken anywhere from a 35 to 75% loss, depending on when you bought.
Right.
And if you did, you're just going to have to take that loss. And I will put your money in the stock. Right now, Facebook is down. Alphabet is down. Google is down. There's some options out there, but
yeah,
it is what it is. Everybody should have probably bought Nike when it took that little dip. That's what you should have did. Shout out to number 7.
Exactly.
So, a topic we've brought up consistently on the show, and we actually removed it from this season of Two Techies. What has happened to the outrage and all of the might of diversity, inclusion, and technology? Where has that topic gone to?
I think it's almost like anything else when you talk about the news media and headlines. They become old and people move on to something else. And diversity and inclusion is still very much something that we deal with all the time, because as entrepreneurs ourselves, we deal with that when we're trying to get funding or any other sort of access, because a lot of what we're doing may not be tech companies, but we're using technology in what we're launching, right? So we still are in the space. And what you're sort of seeing is still the problem was never really solved.
Right. At all.
The corporations that came out with their numbers are probably still about the same.
If not worse.
Right. So the topic is still very much relevant. It's just that people have moved on. We have an attention span of like Amazon Prime. Like if it's not here today, we on to the next.
Wow, that's a great analogy. That's
For
a
real.
great analogy. If it couldn't be fixed immediately.
Right, we on to the next.
I have that nowhere in my notes, but that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so the most recent thing is Katrina Jones that left Vimeo to go to Twitch. I'm sorry. Just a heads up from my wife. We are not given investment advice.
No.
These are just our opinions. So.
And our own experiences.
Yeah, our experiences.
And what we are possibly planning to do.
All right. Don't be trying to sue me because you went and bought some Bitcoin.
Right, or you decide to get Tesla or something. Look, listen.
That boy going crazy anyways. Y'all should have known he was going crazy when he wanted to be in SpaceX. I mean, who want to live in space by himself? But going back, Katrina Jones has left Vimeo to go to Twitch. Twitch is a gaming situation. A lot of guys stream their gaming.
And Gary Vee talks about it all the time.
Right.
For those who follow Gary Vee.
Gaming is a big thing.
Absolutely.
I think you have the difference between Tom, whose mom let him play games, and she upgraded the internet service and bought him a better computer so he could play, versus Joe, who mama was like, get off that. Why you always playing video games? You need to do something with your life. Gaming is definitely now a big thing. Esports is very big.
Absolutely. I mean, they played tournaments almost all day on the Disney Channel.
Right.
Why do I know? I have a kid.
You
But
have a kid.
I'm just
You got to
saying.
watch that kind of stuff.
Right.
So if you're trying to diversify Twitch and you have panelists that are now subjected to racial slurs and they have little emojis that are now their code words for racism, even though they're saying the emojis are not meant for that.
Right.
Are we just going to have to admit, unless we build our own, this is just a problem that's not going to be fixed? Because I'm actually over the fake titles and the fake officers of diversity and inclusion that implement plans that never go anywhere, or they actually have no power in the company to change anything, or the diversity and inclusion ends up, I would say, helping one particular group and not actually fixing the problem of why diversity and inclusion became an issue in the first place.
Right. So I think diversity and inclusion definitely kind of reminds me of integration. So to a certain extent, integrations hindered and hampered our communities because we started to look outside of ourselves for acceptance and feeling as if what we had was not good enough.
Right.
So we devalued our own worth looking at someone else like, I want that. So we became very much like window shoppers, right? Always wanted to be in.
So in other words,
that is.
We should have continued to build the value of Black Planet before we jumped on to Facebook or MySpace.
Possibly. I think that both sort of have their own merit and their own purpose and their own use. But I believe that overall, we just as a people need to feel a certain way about what we do and see the value in what we do and are not so quick to give it up and to sell it.
I mean, I agree. For me, it's one of those things like I used to always wonder if you take it away from technology. I always wonder why Jay-Z didn't start having suits or have a certain line before he saw Rockaware. You know, when you get to a point where you don't even wear your own brand, how much do you believe in the vision of what you're selling to other people?
Right.
And so, like, it's one of those things. And today is definitely a rare day for me. Have on a collared shirt and everything. Had a meeting, had to close the deal today. Had to change the attire today. Unfortunately, I had to change my attire to prove that I was serious about something.
Right, code
Another
switching.
conversation.
Code switching.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm normally in jeans and a T-shirt that's promoting one of the brands of a company that I've invested into.
Right.
And so my thing is when Puffy, Sean Combs kind of did it.
With Sean John.
Yeah, Sean John. They kind of went there, but
he had more of a spread in terms of his attire.
Right, but if you knew you were transitioning in life,
yeah,
why not transition your brand so other people can grow with you?
Right.
If you knew you were going to start wearing suits and button-ups and everything else, why not make those products under your brand? And if you know you don't like big flashy logos on your clothes,
I was just about to say, listen,
why not remove the logo and put it in the back, real nice and clean?
Because that was one of my biggest things with even Baby Fat or House of Darion. Like, I just was not about the plaster across my chest and on my pockets and on my pants. Like, it was just
Beyonce
way
ain't even wearing
too much.
That,
right. It's like, why not? So you can have that for those who want it, but I think urban wear should be a larger category and not just so urban hip hop focused, because a lot of us don't even dress that way.
And I know a lot of people might be like, what does this have to do with diversity, inclusion, in tech? But this is the inclusion part.
Right.
You can't tell people you want to take them to the promised land, but you're going to go to the promised
and
island.
then you pigeonhole them.
Yeah. You got to at least take them where you want to go.
Right.
And a lot of times I think people lead people in a direction where they really don't want to go themselves.
Right. Because meanwhile, while she was doing House of Darion, she was over here buying Picassos and whatever else.
Right. But you're not teaching people that.
Right.
If we're going to talk about music real quick, this is why we take notes and won't have a formatted show. What exactly is Beyonce doing for the community? I hear the stuff Jay-Z is talking about. Where exactly does Beyonce fall in the lines of?
Like philanthropy and stuff?
Yeah, elevation.
I don't know. Okay. Honestly, but I don't necessarily follow her like that either to be able to say,
we need to get a Bayhive fan on here, whatever they call Bayhive, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't necessarily follow her like that, but I do think that there are certain things that they're doing as a couple, and I also feel like she may be in his ear a little bit about like what her interests are and how they want to possibly move as a couple. Possibly, I don't know. I'm just saying. That's what I kind of feel.
I heard him rapping about art. And then the next thing you know, they're in the Louvre for their artwork for the CD. I don't hear her talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And the only reason why I kind of said that was because of kind of what happened with her Formation album. You kind of saw a different side of her. You saw her tapping into like social activism,
yes.
And different things. So it was kind of like, where did that kind of come from? Because it necessarily wasn't something that she was really doing before. Did she kind of get to a point where she started to see?
But Jay put all his work into Justice for Trayvon Martin Foundation. So although she was doing that, Jay had a big part. And I mean, he produced the series. The series.
Right. That's on BT. I think the 6th one is airing soon. The last one.
I didn't know it was 6 parts, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of parts.
It is. And actually, they came on Sabrina Fulton. I believe she did an interview on on Reverend Al Sharpton's show, where they were basically talking about the ratings for the Trayvon Martin series and how they didn't really have a lot of people watching the series, and they were asking people to watch because it speaks volumes to have viewers and eyes on what's kind of going on with the whole series.
But I mean, what the other one, Khalid, the gentleman that committed suicide,
right?
But maybe that goes into the element of production. Sometimes our storytelling doesn't work out. I don't know if that should have been 6 series, maybe a 4-part series.
Yeah.
Some of the detail was a little extensive.
And I honestly haven't seen it. We recorded it. I just need to be in the right space
to be able to take
watch
that in.
it.
And
Right.
I think some people need to understand that it's not that we don't want to watch it and we don't want to be informed. Some of us lived it.
Right.
Some of us was there dealing with it. I mean, like with our company, a lot of the stuff I see, I remember the moments when we would get the phone call and it'd be like, hey, change this on the website and do this. But I don't know if I could take all that in, all the anger and that pain.
Right.
I don't know if I can take that 6
Right.
series.
Yeah, that's
2
a lot
hours a series
to go through.
Yeah.
It's a lot to go through. And I also think, too, I don't know if I get why they may have done it on BET because it's more accessible. And I think they also aired it on Paramount. But, you know, I think that there's a space for having content possibly like that on a Netflix because people often go to Netflix for like documentaries.
The basis of binging, yeah.
Right. And then you kind of like go through it and then you're like done.
But I guess if Netflix wouldn't pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? They may have shopped it to Netflix.
Yeah, they got paid by the commercials that they ran
Right.
through it. Because there was a lot of commercials in there. It's 2 hours, but it's a lot of commercials to offset the content.
Yeah. I just think you may be in a different space when you're on Netflix and you may be looking for like documentary
I watch a lot of
stuff.
documentaries on Netflix.
Yeah,
I get
which is
it.
what we do. So I don't know. So that was that. But going back to the whole thing about
Diversity and
inclusion.
But I mean, even though this matters, it matters what the diversity and inclusion matters what the kind of content that we can put out and what content is controlled by the networks.
Right. Exactly. And speaking about content, because something that you said earlier about sports made me think about the whole Serena cartoon situation that was happening this week and how the cartoonist basically said, I was just drawing her as a black woman. Like he did not see, and the Washington Post did the article about it and had one of his quotes, saw nothing wrong with how he depicted her. He was like, she has a very strong build and I drew her as a black woman. Like, what do you mean? What's wrong with this? And so another cartoonist from Australia had to chime in and he was basically like, you know, he was like, he didn't necessarily get it until someone broke down to him, like Jim Crow and the history about black people being drawn in that light. And then once he got it, he was like, oh, I get why it's offensive. I didn't even realize that I was drawing on something that was so historically done and then offensive. And then he stopped. And he was like, I think that level of education just needs to happen for that cartoonist for him to get it. But then that goes back to the whole diversity and inclusion. Why do people keep talking about it? Why has it become old? But that's because others who are not us don't see value in it. But they can't relate to it.
I was about to say, is it also possible that the leaders that we get in place to take these issues, they get there, they get their money, and they really stop caring and having the same passion? I see a lot of people, to me, I think some people, they get there and they become soft. And they back off of the issues because, as one of the quotes I've made, to be a black man in America, you're constantly living in protest or rage. And it doesn't mean that you're angry at people. It just means you're almost always defensive and you always have to do something to prove yourself. And I feel some people, they get there and you almost get coerced to think, it's not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
We've tried this, but have you done enough?
Right.
Have you really done enough? But shout out to Delane. We know he's doing his thing.
Absolutely.
Esports, and he's been a big part of Black Tech Week and always shows his time. So there's people out there to make a change, and they're doing it, but we got to highlight them.
Yeah. And then going back to the whole thing about diversity and inclusion, because esports is a sport now. But even talking about the NBA and then what Ice Cube is doing with his new league. So I think that if we start to see, the big three, if we start to see other people sort of like, well, we can control this. We can have that narrative and we can sort of shape the experiences and how we present ourselves and provide our own opportunities to ourselves, then that can shake up the industry. If we just continue to like protest and rant, that just becomes like fodder for them and they can kind of tune that out. But if we start to take money away and do other things, then that changes the dynamic.
I agree. So from the side of, we've talked about Ice Cube, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Serena, but you start getting into technology. There was an interesting topic that came up from artists in Tallahassee, Florida. And they were talking about the lack of support from the community. And these are primarily hip-hop artists. And
so recording artists, not visual artists.
Not visual artists. We're talking about recording artists. And one of our associates, L. David Stewart is also a artist, and we've had these conversations, and a lot of people do miss the part Tech Beats and Bytes. We used to have a lot of people from the music industry on the show. We still communicate with them, but I gotta start talking about music artists, and this comes outside of being a old head and wanting to actually understand the syllables that are pronounced in the
right.
the music that I listen to.
Right,
but
I'm not on lean, so I can't quite go there with you all the time. Like, listen.
Some of the artists have to realize you have tools, and this is all from the tech side, that make your career so accessible. But at the same moment, do we have to get to a point of realizing maybe you just suck, or the content that you're putting out just isn't worth listening to? Because you can put your music on SoundCloud. You can put your music on YouTube. You can put a 1-minute clip, or you can just stream your whole video session on Instagram, Facebook, fan page. You can pretty much almost produce a whole album on online applications. You don't even have to have Pro Tools or nothing like that anymore. Instagram has now come with instant success. And some people see these people becoming successful and thinking, why am I not on? Why am I not hot?
Right.
But they're just not doing the groundwork, or they just simply suck. I've heard some people that pass me music and I wouldn't listen to it if I got it for free. It doesn't matter the format, so how you giving it to me. But, you know, like TJ was talking to some people and he was like, you know, at this point, if you're not coming to me with your music.
TJ of TJ DJs?
TJ's DJs, yeah, in Tallahassee.
Okay, right.
And he's like, if you're not coming to me with your music on a jump drive, I'm not taking the time to go find you on SoundCloud and to search for you to listen to your music. Like, you got to make it as accessible as possible. So,
right, especially if you're shopping your music. It's one thing if you're shooting some links to like your friends and family, but if you're like shopping your music, you want them to easily plug in.
You better not even shoot me a link. You better shoot me an MP3 so I can hit play.
Because
it's no different in marketing online.
Right.
The more clicks, the less possible it is that I'm going to go to your platform.
To get that sale.
Just give me the content. But then I started looking at it. So as I think it might have been flying back from Hawaii. Was watching Superfly.
Okay. The new version.
Yeah. I wish it was the old version. But watching Superfly, which was by now Director X, which used to be Little X. They used to make all the hip hop videos, and it pretty much was a 2-hour hip hop video with some content. I'm sorry, Director X. The movie was horrible. It was like horrible. It just did nothing for me.
I've heard that review before.
Yeah, it was just.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that.
It was a 2-hour video. It was a long video, but everything sounds and looks the same.
Yeah.
There's no originality, and as a person that loves music, like, music is my creativity. That's how I push through my art. That's how I push through a work day. I'm worried that we aren't going to have any more of the originals. I mean, we lost Aretha.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to be the next Bobby? I mean, you know what? At this point, I don't even care about hip-hop no more. Just entertainment, music in general.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the next New Edition?
Who's going to be the next Bobby Brown? Number one, outside of in Korea, they got boy groups on lock,
killing it.
But we have none.
Is the music industry going to survive the next 10 years?
It's completely changing, and I believe too, because we gave control away, and it's being pushed by executives who are not necessarily reflective of who we are. Right? So you have. You know, there was a whole, what's his name? Lara Cohen? What's his name? Yeah, him.
Oh, when he did the Breakfast Club interview?
Right. So
I've never seen a man tell you, I've slaved you in public, and nobody figured out what he was saying. He pretty much told them, I knew what was going to make money. You didn't know how to control it.
Right. And they had a template, and they was like, we banging it out. Just factory music. And that's why we're not seeing originality anymore. Because back when we were growing up in hip-hop, yeah, we were young, but you knew Rakim was Rakim. Like, there was nobody that sounded like Rakim. LL Cool J was LL Cool J. MC Hammer, love him or not, he was MC Hammer.
He was killing
and
it.
He was in his own
lane. First of all, anybody that want to talk about MC Hammer had movies.
Listen, I was a
MC Hammer had a cartoon.
Right. I was
MC
a
Hammer was making money.
I was dancing my butt off to the music
Stayed in
videos.
shape. Maybe we need MC Hammer back so some of these people will lose weight.
Right. But I think that, once it kind of got out of the people's control, it just became something else. And now we got all the little Uzi, they all just sound the same. They look the same. Little? And I just be like, I don't know. I can't.
But they all sound exactly the same.
The same.
And one of my homeboys sent me some music. Mm-hmm. And I had to tell him, like, it sounds good if you're trying to get on radio right now. It doesn't appeal to me if you're trying to break grounds.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even if you transfer this over to food, people are trying to follow the same trends. Like, what happened to the risk takers? I mean, Chance sounds a little different. Mm-hmm. Kendrick is at least a little different. But after that, everybody just starts to blend in together. I'm like, oh, well, you did this, but 7 other artists sound just like you.
Right.
And they could have did the
same
thing.
That's like I was listening to somebody, and I had to look at my radio, like, who is this? Because you sound just like the person before you, and you somebody different.
So in Hawaii, we was driving a Jeep. Mm-hmm. Just a CD player, no USB. So what was it that we went through? The trip to, what was it called? Road to Hana. So
okay.
You go up and you make all these little stops, take pictures, ice cream, blah, blah, blah. It's all this little stuff. And I was forced to listen to the radio for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 hours of radio.
Yeah.
It was honestly one of the most painful things I've experienced. It was easier to deal with the cold I had than to listen to that radio for 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't listen to like terrestrial radio.
Cardi is nothing but a hip hop version of Bruno Mars. It's just nobody is doing it no more.
Yeah.
And it was depressing. And you can say what you want, and I might, I'll take the heat for this comment. The fact that Cardi is one of your hottest artists right now, to me, is no different than Trump being president.
It says a lot. It says a lot about the culture.
And a lot of people, if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's the basis of no skills, no experience in office, no history, no track record. She literally went from the pole to the mic. He went from reality TV to the West Wing. There's nothing about Cardi that says to me she should be the hottest female artist out right now. Right. And granted, the album rocks. I ain't even gonna lie. I can listen to that. I can actually stomach that album.
Yeah.
But music to me is almost a reflection of artists that paint pictures of Basquiat, but don't use the style of Basquiat to create original art. Mm-hmm. You are engulfed in the fame of the person versus understanding the history of why he did the art the way he did it.
Yeah.
And the message is just lost.
It's fandom.
Is it just Instagram that's doing this to our kids?
No, I just think it's everything. It's fast fashion, right? So you have the Forever 21s, the H&M.
I was going to say, I don't even know what's in style anymore. I mean, I know Fashion Nova comes to our house every other day, but...
Right, but that's the thing, fast fashion. So it's cheap, it's disposable. You can wear it like 2 or 3 times. You throw it away, you don't care because you spent like $5 on it. Everything is so fast and so consumable to where the craftsmanship in a lot of this stuff has kind of like gone to the wayside.
And that's where music is at right now.
Right. It's fast music. It's like McDonald's in your ear.
The artist that's going to take it to the next level is the one that actually knows how to play instruments and actually can perform on stage without yelling their lyrics. Like, I would go to a rap concert if I knew the artist wasn't just going to be screaming his lyrics through the whole show. Like, the most disappointing thing I've seen in my life was Tekashi 6ix9ine on stage performing. He literally screams 6 words, and he's running while his fans are citing the rest of the lyrics. Yeah. He does 6 more words, runs to the other side.
Right, y'all do the work.
What are you doing? Like, just running like a madman on stage. I'm like, so this is showmanship now.
Right.
This is what, and like Drake. Why would I want to go see Drake perform?
I had to break down to somebody. I was like, so fandom to me is like if I would spend my money and buy your album. No, we don't buy music anymore, but I'm not a fan if I would not spend my money on you. So even for me, like Lil Wayne, like I'm not a Lil Wayne fan.
Right.
Like, yeah, I could listen to his stuff in the club, but I'm not buying his music. A lot of these artists, I'm not buying their music. Not.
I can't think of anybody but.
And that to me is what a fan is, and I'm just not.
So the formula right now has to be for local artists, just like anybody with an app, a store, a product, or anything. How do you gain support before you're hot? Like, how do you get yourself to the next level?
It goes back to the whole groundwork to me. I mean, even for us and what we're doing with our businesses, it's a lot of like in people's faces.
Right.
The whole stat is like you have to be in front of people's faces like 6 to 8 times in order for them to then buy your product.
Right.
So if you're not in the streets, if you're not keeping your brand out there and you're not showcasing it, then it's like, what are you doing?
It's just like me and people DM. I tell these females the reason why dudes come at them the way they do is because if you know you can shoot your shot at 50 to 60 people a day, you're hoping at least 2 or 3 give you a chance.
Right. You just keep going through. You copy and paste.
Same message, different
copy and
person.
paste. Copy and paste.
Somebody gonna say hello.
Somebody gonna say something.
Catch her at the right time. She just got her heart broke.
Right.
Yeah, you can take me out.
Right.
I don't like that. But I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what we can do about the music industry, but
hopeless.
It's
like a penny with a hole in it.
It's getting bad. Like I'm at the point where I'm listening to Freddie Jackson. Like I'm going back to the 80s and just working my way back
I
up.
actually listen to a lot of talk radio in the car. Like I listen to on
I'm
my
thinking
series. I
about
listen to
podcasts.
Urban View.
Yeah.
I listen to Urban View a lot because it's just like the music. No, not really.
I don't read a lot, so I'm gonna have to download some Audible books or something.
Audible works really well.
Got to do something, but
yeah.
So I'm not I'm a visual artist. I'm not a music artist, but to the music artists out there, save us. Do some research.
Right.
Learn the art of music. Learn how to storytell. I don't want a song about your drugs, your clothes, your house. Just give me a story. Tell me how you got your heart broke. Tell me about somebody that stole your bike when you was a little kid and how that affected you. Talk about the sunshine, or just anything. But y'all are starting to sound like HGTV on steroids. All y'all talking about is products and merchandise for companies that aren't giving you money. Well, actually, they might be giving them money at this point.
Yeah, they could be. They could be. And I also want to say shout out to all the artists who are coming back out, because you're seeing a lot of old school artists coming back out. And I think they're like, we gotta save the industry and do music for like our generation.
I need Brian McKnight before he did that song for the porn industry. That's what Brian, if you listening, I don't know what you and your sons were thinking at that point, but Brian McKnight. Is Peebo Bryson still alive?
Yeah, Peebo just came out with a.
Yeah, Peebo.
He just came out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You starting to see Peebo. Peebo been going for ages.
Ever, and then they're like, look, ain't nobody else gonna make no R&B song.
Right, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save the category.
like Kevin Hart. Help me.
Right, please.
All right.
Jesus Cristo.
I think the next topic is yours.
Yeah. But so continuing the whole lifeline discussion, because we just try to throw a lifeline to the music industry. Lifelines are being thrown to the education industry.
Right.
So Jeff Bezos just announced that he's launching a $2 billion fund for preschools and helping the homeless. And we know LeBron just opened up his school this past summer to target youth in his neighborhood. So
which one we want to tackle first?
We just talk about it all. The fact that you have people who are outside of education trying to help save education.
So for me,
go.
Bezos, first thing you should do is just raise the wages for your employees that's sleeping in their cars but still working for Amazon. I mean, I'm not going to get on LeBron yet because LeBron ain't a multi-billionaire. Mm-hmm. You can't make that much money and have people that are your employees struggling that much. I think the $2 billion for preschools and the homeless is a great tax write-off, but you could be employed. This is what bothers me. Mm-hmm. You can't have that much money and not come up with another solution versus just giving money away. This is no different than in the Bible. You can give a man fish or you can teach a man how to fish.
Right.
For the preschools, that's fine, but I'm willing to bet he has millions of dollars of employees that need preschools for their children.
Yeah.
Or they need funding for their kids to go to school.
Right. I mean, and you're talking about the living wage, so let's talk about minimum wage, right? So minimum wage is still around like $7 for most people.
Right.
And actually, because of inflation and cost of living, minimum wage should be like around $25, $24. So, I was listening to, again, Sirius XM today, and a lady was on, and she was just talking about the whole minimum wage situation and how the way that they kind of calculate the poverty line is outdated because they base it on food and the expense of food, whereas back in the day, food was your most costly expense.
But now
it's housing. Mm-hmm. So the whole metric is off. So the way that they talk about, we have X number of jobs and, all those different metrics, is not telling the true picture because a lot of people are having to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to just make their minimum living.
And also, is it $2 billion a year or is it like $2 billion stretched over
It's a fund. So basically, you can.
So
there's an article
it aside and you
right.
get the tax write-off and then you distribute the funds as you see fit.
Right. So TechCrunch has an article up, and basically he's looking to give money to. It's called the Day One Families Fund, and it will issue annual leadership awards to organizations and civic groups doing compassionate, needle-moving work to provide shelter and hunger support to address the immediate needs of young families.
So Bezos should go to the hood and understand the meaning of day one. Day one means people that's been riding with you since day one. For him, that's all them employees working at them Amazon factories, slaving and messing up their backs, trying to fulfill our first world problems of them Amazon primes.
Right.
Go take care of your real day ones.
Because we want our product now.
Right. Go take care of your real day ones that's running that fund, running that business for you. And when Jeff should start giving away money, when he can come back and say this, all of my employees with kids have free after school care. Uh-huh. And anybody with kids under 5, I pay for preschool. That would be step 1. Step 2 would be for him to say, any of my employees that are homeless because they cannot make money, we have either bought out a whole apartment complex, which he can do, and we've given them funding, and we've given them a place to live, so none of our employees are homeless. Once you've taken care of the people that have made you rich, then go take care of the other people in the world. Otherwise, you are now using philanthropy as a distraction from your wealth. Right. Because $2 billion can be stretched out. He could give 1.9 billion of it away when he's dead, and it don't matter no more because it's a fund. Mm-hmm. If you're not taking care of the people that help make you rich, to me, philanthropy is just another distraction.
Yeah.
So Jeff,
I mean,
you considering coming to Miami, but bro, don't be bringing that smoke down here. If you coming down here, rent is about $1,800 for about 700 square feet. So trying to pay somebody $35,000 to work in your warehouse, and we got horrible public transportation. They need a car. They need gas. They need a sun pass. And most of the people you're going to hire probably don't even really like cooking, so they don't be able to eat out. They need Uber Eats.
Right.
You got to make it work. I understand. To me, his actions do not reflect or should not go in the same category of what LeBron is doing. LeBron has taken his friends and put them through college, got them certifications. They're running a business.
Yep.
And he went back and,
he definitely has a LeBron mafia.
Yeah.
Like the PayPal mafia.
Which is what he should have did.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think for education, a lot of education suffer in household because the parents can't be at home.
Yeah.
To spend time with their kids. So while you in there slaving your employees.
And then cutting funding for education.
Right. So
people wouldn't have to come from the private sector and invest in education if education was funded the way it should be at the federal level. And
I think that goes into what Andrew is doing. If you want to improve a system, you got to improve
Andrew
the people.
Who?
Gillen.
Okay.
If you're going to improve a system, you got to invest into the people that's a part of that system.
Right.
So I recently just found out what my little sister, granted, she has a new job now. Mm-hmm. But when I found out the salary of what my little sister was making as a teacher, I wouldn't teach either.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they have to do all other types of things. They have all types of extracurricular. They try to become the cheerleading coach.
Right.
And, computer team coach.
Janitor on the side.
Right.
Like,
because that's how they supplement their income.
How you paying a
doing
teacher $30,000?
And then a lot of them have to provide their own school supplies. They have to supplement what the parents buy for their kids in the classroom.
At some point, America is going to have to sit down and realize what are the investments we're making for infrastructure. Because even if you want a child to become more into the technical side and learn how to use big machines, and we got they want more people in the vocational schools because you're running out of people. You don't have skilled plumbers no more, and things of that nature. But you won't even take care of them when they were under 18 years old. You didn't even get that part right.
Yeah.
So I really respect what LeBron has done. Mm-hmm. But for me, with Jeff, I think he's missed the mark with this one. You have way too many employees that are just absolutely broke and killing
and have you ever
themselves out
seen
there.
one of their contracts for their employees?
No, I haven't actually.
It's kind of crazy. It's almost like you cannot do anything else. And even if they have this, one of the factories down here, it's like if you were to work in the factory, almost on an on-call basis, you cannot have another job. And you're only going to probably work around 20 hours a week. So to most people, that's a part-time, but you can't work anywhere else because of non-competes and everything else. So it puts a lot of people in a very peculiar situation with the whole thing. So
that's the hard thing about being exposed to knowledge. Because if you actually pay attention, in theory, you can't support anything in this world no more.
No. And that ties back to, capitalism has been a conversation that's been across a lot of different platforms. And is it still the right model? So a lot of people refer back to Norway and how Norway has sort of a base salary for all of their citizens, to where everybody has a base salary so that way you can live. And then anything that you do above that, that's sort of your own. So granted, that's not probably going to happen in the U.S. until we probably dead and gone. But there should be a discussion about that, because we know that, number one, the poverty line is not even what it should be. Minimum wage is nowhere near compensating for the inflation rates. So what are we kind of doing? And then we're also, so you have people trying to solve for homelessness, but not really solve for it.
Right.
You have people trying to solve for different things, but not really solving for it.
It's almost like people solving to make themselves feel good for the things they're overlooking.
Not really addressing it from a policy standpoint. So,
I was reading, you have all these deserted malls. Mm-hmm. Why not just turn those malls into micro apartments?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they did with abandoned factories.
Right.
Apply the same thing.
It'd be great.
A whole live work thing. You could have some of them be little mini factories. The whole makers movement is a huge thing. But if you turn them into micro
apartments and then you had little food, you don't have to go nowhere.
Right. You just live within.
Simon Mall should really be turning off. Besides that monstrosity that we're trying to build down in the Everglades, I think a lot of these malls that are going out of business should turn into micro apartments, have some let the people that have successful food trucks come in and set up inside, and then it'd almost be like a community within itself.
Yeah.
That's what you should do with abandoned malls. Why just let them go out of business because nobody's buying retail anymore?
Right.
I mean, better yet, how about Jeff, since Amazon killed the retail industry, how about he invest into that? He should go buy up some malls and let his employees stay in those malls and make that work.
And they can fulfill out the malls, because they all got storage.
Yeah, buy one of the old Sears.
Right.
And turn that into a fulfillment shop, so you ain't even got to drive to work. You just come out your little micro apartment, go downstairs.
It's a whole campus.
Exactly. That's what it would be. Turn them into campuses. And it's not, they got the loading docks and everything else.
Everything's already set up for commerce.
Jeff, you need to come holler at us, bro. You doing it all wrong. We got you. So I see you got something here about the black experience. You got to tell me about that.
Yes. So there's a lot of people who have been talking about their sort of pages being shut down on different social platforms. So YouTube shutting down different accounts, Facebook shutting down different accounts because of their sort of pro-black rhetoric. So there was an article that came out with a young lady who has a store on Etsy, and Etsy shut her down. And she had different T-shirts that had sayings, like worthy of humanity, and sort of like, don't touch me, don't touch my hair, don't touch my culture. Your founding fathers owned slaves. So she was real like vocal about her stance on it. But so Etsy shut her down. So, you know, there's a whole idea about free speech and commerce. And then when does it become too much to where the owners of the platforms then start to dictate what they allow on the platforms? Like, is there a balance there? Should they be able to say, like, nah, we don't want to sell your stuff anymore? Especially on a platform like Etsy, where Etsy is really just the shell and everybody has their own individual store within the platform.
Okay. So.
And the same thing says for YouTube, right? YouTube is the shell and everybody has their own channel within YouTube.
So I think this goes back to our earlier conversation about desegregation and the initial
Absolutely.
side of the initial side of me, should I say, the rage would automatically say why they shut her down, get it back up, blah blah blah. The more sensible side of me and the entrepreneur side of me says she should just go to WordPress, get her a WooCommerce account, build her own website, and continue to sell her content. And then at that point, try to see how many other people that sell on Etsy will then walk away from Etsy and allow her to build their own site. My thing is, like today, I think it was today. Was that today? It might have been yesterday. The young lady in Hialeah went to Taco Bell, and nobody at Taco Bell spoke English, so she couldn't place her order.
Oh, wow.
And then the people at Taco Bell threatened to call the cops on her because she stayed in line.
What?
And so it's kind of ironic. It's like Taco Bell, Spanish, no. But so I'm like, instead of sitting there fighting with somebody about serving me because you do not speak
Right.
English in America, which in Hialeah you probably should know Spanish, but I'm not going to sit up there and fight with Taco Bell. I'm just never going to eat there again. There's other places to go get Mexican food from. And I mean, you should know that Taco Bell uses the same level of beef that is the same grade level of what they use in dog food. So you probably shouldn't be eating at Taco Bell. I mean, literally, pedigree dog food got the same.
Listen, no shade to those who like Taco Bell because we know y'all out there. Listen.
The quality when they
want
grade the beef, it's a D grade beef.
No, that's crazy.
The beef that's used at Taco Bell is the same quality of beef that they put in dog food. So you're fighting for somebody to serve you dog food. If it bothers you that much, just don't eat at Taco Bell. With that being said, if Etsy pulled her platform, I'm pretty sure this young lady knows multiple web developers and other people. Just move your content to another platform. Like, you're not inhibited to the point that you're that controlled.
Right.
Move your content.
But then too, so I get that. But then I also feel like for shutting her down, because it's not as if what she had was hate speech. I get shutting down hate speech.
If you can file a lawsuit and win, do it.
Right.
Otherwise, move your content, get your own domain, build your own website, do your own thing. You cannot complain about being independent, but your whole life depends on the dependencies of others' platforms.
Yeah.
That's the weakness. And that's how they were always, they being dictators. I'm not even saying even a race thing. Those that want to dictate what you do and don't do, that's how they will remain in control. Because you've become so dependent on their platforms. If it bothers you that much and if they shut you down, build your own domain, build your own website. You making your own shirts. It's not like they're making the shirts for you.
Right.
It's a shell. So understand the basis of technology. Do not put yourself in a position where technology controls you. If you get to a point where YouTube is consistently deleting your content, like I see people that consistently complain, Instagram is deleting my content, YouTube is deleting my content. They have templates on WordPress that is basically, your Instagram is nothing but a mobile website that shows images of a so if you really got people following you and messing with you like that, go build your own site, upload your own content, and tell all your users on Instagram, you can find my content here, run your own advertisement, and actually make money versus just collecting the wealth of likes and comments.
Yeah. We're
at a point now where I think people focus more on receiving attention than making money. Where people are so addicted to, and this will go right into our next topic, but people are so addicted to the world of overexposure and acceptance for other people that they lose focus of what they're actually doing.
What their purpose is.
So I don't post as much because the people that want to watch my content, they reach out to me. Hey man, what happened to the show? When the show coming back? Oh, it'll be back. Oh, okay.
Right.
Thursday, right? Right. But I'm not about to spend my money with Facebook because I'm not making money off of doing the show. So I'm not about to spend money to advertise to get people to watch my content when I'm giving them information to inform them of how to make their life better. That's a whole lot of spending for nothing. I'm making two other platforms rich in the process of still not making any money. Now, when Junction 2027 opens,
right?
Oh, it's advertisement all day because I need you to come watch the show live because you're going to get a beer, you're going to get a burger, you're going to go out there and get some chicken, you're going to get you a salad, but I'm now making money. I just believe in the world of overexposure, people, it was an image that is probably one of the most profound images I've seen in the last year, where they had likes and comments as pills, and they were pouring the pills and they were selling the pills like it was drugs. And to me, that's where we have a world that is just addicted to attention.
That's a
and
really
not
good
actually
visual.
making impact or making change. And because for people like us that are actually focused on making impact,
right,
we do a lot but we'll never make a dime from it. All we can do is go back and tell the story of the change we've made. And sometimes we won't even get to tell that story because of a contract.
Right.
But some people are just, Snapchat is about to open up their shared stories to media partners, which mean you sharing your life and overexposing your life is going to help this company make more money because the media partner buys this information and this data and this content to expose their content. But you're not making any money.
Right.
It's just we're now stuck in a world where, to me, it's just like the club. People can't even pour a drink without, hold on, get your camera, get this on camera, girl. I got to show everybody I'm out here balling out of control. You can't even just enjoy the moment. You don't even like life no more. Your life is depressing. Your Instagram is hot. Your Snapchat is popping, but you are dying inside because you're seeking for attention.
Right.
Like
social validation.
There has to be a whole nother basic. Like I can understand now, they have to be rewriting psychology books to deal with the addiction to social media with the generation we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because you need people to like you. And it used to be you just needed people at school to like you or friends to like you. Now you need people that don't even know you or care about you to hit a button for you to feel good.
Yeah. I mean, because people even start to shape their feed to get more likes. So they're like, oh, these kind of posts
is what's going to
make
it
what's
happen.
popping. Let me continue to do these types of posts instead of staying true to whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Because I can tell you, my best posts are Angry Mike. When I snap, and if I write a post that's 500 words or one, people are like, oh, he has something to say. That post is going to get me anywhere from 130 to 300 likes. If I post about business, art, or anything around those levels, 30 to 40 likes. And that's a good one.
Yeah.
People feed off of your pain and negativity, and with a world of overexposure, there's a reason why suicide rates have went up.
Absolutely. Because even people were concerned about the whole Kate Spade thing and Anthony Bourdain, because you're looking at them and you're like, wait a minute, really?
Right. How you got all that and you still ain't happy? So, just real quick, to wrap it up for today's ignorance. You want me to do it here? You want me to do it here? So, it's not even a lot to say. It's really just called cutting the weight. There's a lot of people over the summertime that probably haven't heard from the members of Digital Grass, Cosmology, Medium 4, Year 60. You haven't heard from us. We've been kind of silent. Sometimes you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. And sometimes you just got to cut dead weight because the weight that you're carrying will limit you from the things you can do and the luggage that you can bring on to the plane. Remember when I told you guys a couple of episodes about that lift off and that takeoff? You have to distribute that weight. And when you're carrying too much weight, they're going to look at that plane and say, hey, we can't do it. And the thing is, you're only focused on the weight you're using for the takeoff. Sometimes you got to think about your destination and your return and what knowledge and what weight you may pick up once you reach that destination and you come back. So if you're traveling with a lot of weight, you have no space to bring anything back. So to the great employees that are on my team and stuck with us, and to the clients that had to remove themselves from our roster, we wish you the best. But there's a great part of American Airlines, Delta, and everybody else where they have this one statement that sticks with me, and I've posted it once, twice, probably 3 times. Put on your own mask, secure your mask before you help others. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why the airlines tell you that. Because if you dead, you ain't putting on nobody else's mask. Sometimes you need to learn how to be selfish and take care of yourself first before you start taking care of others. So, with that being said, this has been another episode of Tech Beats and Bytes. We appreciate CIC Venture Cafe, as well as the Knight Foundation, Pop Soul Popcorn, and Timeline Brewing Cosmology. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much.